One Zambia, One Nation. Good morning and a warm welcome to this Saturday edition of Zanis News. We look at the stories making headline. Mansa Medical Hub receives drugs worth over 50 million kwacha. Zambia National Dance Troupe mesmerizes revealers at the tourism cultural event in India. With the news in detail, my name is Yvonne Jerry. The Ministry of Health has continued providing Mansa Medical Hub with medical medicines meant for distribution in all health facilities in the province. The hub has so far received different drugs worth 52.8 million kwacha. Kennedy Chomba gives us the following report.
True to its commitment of ensuring that health services are taken closer to the people as possible, government has continued with the consistent supply of medicines in health facilities. In Mansa Medical Hub has continued receiving medicine consignment since October last year. Luapula Provincial Health Director, who conducted an on-spot check at the hub, is happy with the medical supplies.
We would want these drugs to get to, those populations, the communities for whom they are intended, so that we can improve the quality of health for our people. What we would want to see as Luapula Province and beyond is basically a very active health and the productive population that should be able to contribute to, the socio-economic, development of our country. So this is very highly commendable. Let us all be accountable, and if we are all accountable and we are able to deliver, then we are likely to see a reduction in morbidity and the common mortalities that we see in the facilities.
And Mansa Medical Hub manager now gives an insight on how operations are conducted at the hub.
As I've said, we have received the products for distribution to all facilities within Luapula Province. The whole essence of the hub is actually to do last mile distribution. That's to deliver commodities from central to this place, then from here to all facilities, bypassing the district health offices. Though, to some extent, there are some products which are supposed to be kept at district health offices for emergencies, and that's emergency preparedness. But our goal is to deliver the product to the last mile, that's the last facility as the beneficiaries, so that we reduce on the time frame that our drugs reach the patients. Okay. Then an estimation, I think currently it stands about 52.8 million kwacha worth of drugs that are sitting here as of today.
With these measures, issues of non-availability of medicine in health facilities in Luapula Province is now a thing of the past. Kennedy Chomba, Zanis, Mansa, Luapula Province.
Audrey Kalenga reports from Lusaka Province that the Minister of Agriculture, Michael Katambo, says agriculture remains critical for diversification, economic development, and poverty reduction in the country.
To improve the delivery of subsidized farming inputs, the Minister of Agriculture introduced the electronic voucher e-voucher system in 2016 to enable small-scale farmers access inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program FISEP. The introduction of the system was aimed at ensuring efficiency under the FISEP to the beneficiaries, as well as support diversification to accelerate development in the agriculture sector. The Consumer Unity and Trust Society CATS, in partnership with Oxfam, held a progressive review of the e-voucher implementation.
And so the reason we have this meeting is because we thought it was important to essentially create a space for a number of different stakeholders to be able to input into really what has been somewhat of an interesting discussion, whether or not the e-voucher works better than the traditional system, in which areas, and for example, who is benefiting the most. And so essentially what we've done is we've brought together, as you can see, and I'm sure as you've noticed by talking to some of the different people around your table, people from different areas, different districts. Not everybody in this room is Lusaka-based, because this conversation is not Lusaka-based.
The briefing was attended by various stakeholders from the Ministry of Agriculture, IAPRI, representative from the Fertilizer Association of Zambia, agro dealers, Smart Zambia, and farmers. Meanwhile, some stakeholders have raised concern over the implementation of the e-voucher system.
Already echoing on the diversification of e-voucher, we have seen as agro dealers, we are stocking a wide range of products. A wide range of products translates into a large volume of business. And that to us is a plus. We also recorded that the Zanis was real. We didn't have much trouble in logging, except for areas, of course, that I've mentioned. Other speakers have mentioned there were trouble in connectivity. But I think about 80% of the agro dealers were on time, and we started the program right on time, even before the start of the rains.
The number of farmers that we interviewed, actually they told us to say they managed to redeem different types of inputs. Deep chemicals, plant drugs, insecticides, herbicides, and the like. So the diversification agenda, like I have been saying, was actually a good thing for the farmers.
Minister of Agriculture Michael Katambo confirmed that his ministry paid an amount of 540 million kwacha to agro dealers across the country under the Farmer Input Support Program in the 2018-2019 farming season.
So the Ministry of Agriculture registered 5,406 agro dealers across the country to supply inputs to farmers in the e-voucher districts. A total, as at to date, 998,738 farmers out of the targeted 1 million beneficiaries successfully deposited their 400 kwacha contribution in order to participate on the program. So the FISI program was successfully implemented through the enhanced Zambia Integrated Agricultural Management Information System, Zanis, under the umbrella of Smart Zambia.
The e-voucher system still remains a fundamentally more effective way of delivering inputs despite being faced with a few challenges. It is therefore imperative for government and stakeholders to ensure a successful implementation of the e-voucher in the next farming seasons. Audrey Kalenga Kunda, Zanis, Lusaka.
And from the Copperbelt province, the Pave Zambia Road project in Ndola, whose works had stalled due to non-supply of pavers by the Road Development Agents, RDA, has recommenced. A check by Zanis found the contractor on site and the works are progressing well. Here's a report.
The Pave Zambia Road project in Ndola on the Copperbelt, whose works had stalled due to non-supply of pavers by the Road Development Agency, RDA, has recommenced. The project, which was launched in 2017, was scheduled to be completed last year, but the non-availability of pavers hindered the contractor to complete the works. About 90% of the roads earmarked to be paved were done last year, awaiting for the pavers, and now that the pavers have started arriving, the contractor, Virgin Services, is optimistic that the works will be completed soon. A check by Zanis found the contractor on site and the works are progressing well.
So far we've done curbing and we're still doing it. This is about 1.3, which is Wallow Street, yes. So, but our target is probably if we can lay all the curb by, say, 1 week to go, then probably total 5.6, we should be able to do it in about 6 months to 7 months, should be done.
The recommencement of this project has elated residents.
Misebo kunoshalisha amabampu mwali amapotozo nomusebo nombaba government natotera sana ba government balebomba bantu like misebo muno tashali bwino so apana abambo okutuwamisha kone myoto kashire pita bwino nomba.
We never had pavers before. This is the first time in the history of Ndeke, so we appreciate the government of President Edgar Lungu for what he's doing. And it said Galungu 2021.
Ndola City Council has a warning for those with intentions to stealing the pavers.
We have seen some cases in which people are actually trying to uplift those pavers before they dry. However, we're going to send out a stern warning that if you're found wanting and vandalizing, this is a national property, you shall be prosecuted, and the law, you shall meet the wrath of the law. We shall not take kindly to any vandals who will be found removing any of these pavers.
Relevant authorities should constantly supply the contractors with pavers if the project is to be completed. The Pave Zambia Road project seeks to cover 2,000 kilometers of urban roads in all the 10 provinces using segmented paving blocks. James Simalumba, Zanis, Ndola.
Still in construction news, the construction of 55 police housing units in Mazabuka district in Southern Province is progressing well. The housing units being constructed by Avic International have so far reached 80% complete. Here's a report.
The ongoing construction of police housing units in Mazabuka district is on course and progressing well. The housing project being carried out by government through the Ministry of Home Affairs has so far reached 80% and is expected to be completed by October this year. I visited the project site in order to check on how the works are moving, and according to Vivian Chai, an official from Avic International, all is going on well.
The project goes very well. The percentage overall is 38% now, and it will expect it to be end at the end of October. That's the time we expect.
Police officers from Mazabuka Central Police Station have thanked government for embarking on the project.
So far as police officers, we are very happy with the way the project is progressing, and we are thankful to the government of the Republic of Zambia and Avic International for coming to the aid in terms of accommodation for the police officers. We are very sure that this is going to boost the working morale of the officers.
The construction of housing units across the country will ensure that men and women in uniform are accorded the chance to stay in decent houses. Lemele Kando, reporting for Zanis in Mazabuka, Southern Province.
Mike Mkombo reports from Faridad, India, that the Zambian National Dance Troupe has mesmerized revelers at the 17th Day Tourism Cultural Event dubbed the Surajkon International Crafts Mela in India.
Zambia National Dance Troupe took show revelers by storm at the 17-day tourism cultural event dubbed the Surajkund International Crafts Mela in India. The government of India fully sponsored the national troupe comprised of Zambia National Service, Zambia Army, Nomakanjani, Tienjani, Zuvani Moto, and Amayombe cultural troops. The team also includes 2 artisans from Choma Museum and Akez Curio Market.
Ndilumbaba President Edgar Chagwa Lungu.
I thank President Lungu for this lifetime opportunity. I'm happy to be here.
The sponsorship by India is a demonstration of continued growing bilateral cooperation between Zambia and India in the area of tourism and culture. Government, through the 7th National Development Plan, SNDP, has identified tourism as a priority sector and is benchmarking from India on how to effectively organize the Pamozi Carnival Festival in Lusaka and elsewhere. Mike Munkombwe, Zanis in Faridabad, India.
Back in Lusaka Province, the Ministry of Higher Education, in collaboration with the National Technology Business Center, NTBC, has donated equipment worth more than 80,000 kwacha to APTAS Zambia. Pethias Mtali now reports.
According to the Open Society Initiative for Southern Africa, Zambia, around 256,000 people in Zambia are living with a type of disability, and around 5.4% of that number have an intellectual disability. This is Olivia Mapa 15 and Messi Mpamba 3. Both can neither sit nor stand on their own, and caring for them is both physically and emotionally challenging for the parents. However, APTAS Zambia produces mobility aids for disabled children using local materials.
These are custom made according to the presentation of each child. So you don't make a child, because Olivia is a child with cerebral palsy, athetosis, and another one has the same condition, will not make a similar chair. It will depend on what the child is presenting with, so that the child is able to stand.
APTAS Zambia, being unique and critical to the country's social and health sector, has made the institution one of the 2019 beneficiaries of NTBC funds.
In 2015 alone,
we had about 127 applications. I'm happy to say APTAS emerged one of the 4 successful grantees awarded from that competitive call. This is an indication that the fund has gained more recognition and that there are more innovators, more researchers, and more entrepreneurs that need to benefit from it.
APTA's Zambia representative explains that the disability institution assists mothers with different abled children to easily access affordable and tailored assistive technologies.
Other big dreams that we have is to be able, through UTH, go to each province and set up little APTAs in each of the provincial. Then mothers don't have to travel all the way from Kaputa to come and get their children's sitting frame and standing frame, and if it needs to change, they don't have to come back.
Indeed, the support that NTBC has rendered to APTAS Zambia will go a long way in supporting this noble institution, which helps mothers with physically challenged children live independent lives. Pethias Mutare, Zanis News, Lusaka.
And finally in the news this morning, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, has donated an ambulance to Maheba refugee settlement. UNHCR Senior Protection Officer says the ambulance will help to improve service delivery to communities in the area. Sharon Musha now reports.
Maheba refugee settlement in Kalumbila district of Northwestern Province has for years now hosted refugees from various countries. With restoration of peace in their countries of origin, some refugees have repatriated back to their countries. However, some former refugees have opted to be integrated among the local communities within the area. With a settlement area of about 720 square kilometers, provision of basic services like health might sometimes be challenging. To mitigate such challenges, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, has donated an ambulance to service the refugee settlement and surrounding areas.
I think this is exactly what partnership looks like and what UNHCR's role in supporting the government of Zambia in delivering protection and assistance to the refugees that have been hosted here looks like. So when there's a need, when there's a gap, we work together to identify it, and we work together to mobilize donors to fund such important activities and gaps.
Government is elated with UNHCR for their continued support.
As government, we are honored by the gesture of our partner, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, for the procurement of the ambulance for the settlement. The gesture would go a long way to alleviate the problem of transporting persons of concern to various health centers. Our partners have continuously not ceased to support the efforts of the government.
It's been a challenge, I think, in the past few months. We're having one ambulance within Maheba. Now having 2 will actually even make the referral of clients even faster, even better, and we hope to save even more lives with the ambulance that has been given to us today. Otherwise, I'm not to say a lot of things, but only to say that thank you very much on behalf of the Ministry of Health.
The refugees are equally pleased with support from both government and UNHCR.
I begin by saying thank you to the Minister of Health, MHA, UNHCR for providing us with an ambulance. By so doing that is a sign of saying we are not alone and we are not left alone. Thank you very much. It will be really of help to my fellow refugees. Thank you very much. Continue with the same spirit. Thank you.
Reporting for Zanis in Northwestern Province, Sharon Musha.
That's all we had for you this morning, but before we go, a recap of the stories that made headline. Mansa Medical Hub receives drugs worth over 50 million kwacha. And Zambia National Dance Troupe mesmerizes revealers at the tourism culture event in India. Thank you very much for watching Zanis News this morning. On behalf of Zanis production team, I'm Yvonne Jerry. Good morning and have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye.